Hello, She Army. Hello, hello. It is Wisdom Wednesday. And tonight I am talking to you about sales, but more importantly, how to sell without feeling awkward. So I want to preface the conversation by saying that I'm not going to be talking to you that you shouldn't be selling anything to be in business. We're not having that conversation. The definition of business is making, buying, and selling products and goods, or products and services, rather. So, by definition, you have to be selling something to be in business. I wanted to come on here and talk about it because I think sales gets a bad rap because of car salesmen. And sorry, car salesman, but I think it's really true because I actually had to deal with some car salesmen like in the past few weeks. And so that's actually what sparked this live conversation because I had a terrible experience. And the salesman, they would have closed the sale, but they made a crucial mistake with me because they were so pressed for the sale, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like they're not even listening to what I'm saying. So I'm gonna give you some tips on how you can sell without it feeling awkward. So the first thing is that you really do need a sales process, right? What does that look like in your business, and how do you bring customers to do business with your company? And, it doesn't have to be anything super duper complicated. I can talk about sales funnels and all, and I'll do that on another live or what have you. But really, you do need to know how are you going to bring your clients from your ideal customer from point A to point B in your business. What does that look like? That's the first thing that you need to do so that you're clear also too on the process and you can guide them to the next step, essentially. Second is you need to listen. I'm gonna say that again. You need to listen, and actively listen. So the fatal mistake that the car salesman made is that he didn't listen for what I actually needed. I told him, said it like a couple times, and actually this is more than one car salesman. So, I'm just like, okay, like car dealership people, y'all not training y'all employees correctly because I clearly said what it is that I wanted and I needed. And did I get any of that? No, I didn't. So, the moral of the story is don't try to sell stuff that people don't need and don't want. You know, it's kind of like you have to listen to what they care about. When you're listening, when you're on these sales calls with people, listen to what they care about. All I wanted was some options, right? That's all I needed. And did I get options? I did not. They weren't listed. So as a result, they didn't close the sale. So if you're not listening to what your ideal clients need when you're on these sales calls, you're not going to close the sale. You have to listen to what their challenges are, what their pain points are, and why they actually got on the phone with you, right? And third, right, in addition to listening, you also have to sell in a way that feels in alignment for you, right? That feels good for you, that is in alignment with the ethics and values of your brand, right? Don't sell things that people don't need. So don't just sell it just to make a dollar. And if you can't help people, be upfront and honest about it, right? Nothing speaks more to the integrity of your brand than being honest about what you can and can't do. And I often talk about selling like a woman because a lot of times sales is uncomfortable for women. We don't want to be like we feel like we're being pushy or like it's like people don't want what I'm selling. No, 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 no. It's more so about just making sure that how you're selling, the techniques that you're using feel good for you. Like you're okay with doing the thing that is required to get the sale, right? Um, Fourth, shift your mindset when it comes to sales, right? Definitely shift your mindset. So selling is serving. You are helping people get the transformation, get the results, what have you. Make sure you can actually deliver those results. Again, that goes back to the integrity of your brand and your brand ethics when you are selling. But you are in fact selling or servicing people with a solution. You're providing them with a transformation. You're not bothering people unless you really are bothering people, but you're not bothering people. You have to, but what I will say is that sales will go a lot easier if you take the time to build the relationship. See, I think this also too goes into like men versus women and how we actually relate to one another, whether it's with other women or with men, right? Like we have to kind of like build a relationship. We kind of got to get to know you, right? We want to feel good before we actually say give the yes, right? Think about when you're in a romantic relationship. A lot of times you're like, well, wait a minute, I don't know you. Like pause. You don't want to take any action. You might not even want to like go out on another date until you gather some information, some details. So and if you liken it to sales goes a lot easier when you actually take the time to build a relationship with your ideal client. Like, so here's some stats, guys. If you well, first think about all the times that like you've been cold DM'd, people call you on the phone, text messages. We're getting all types of stuff, right? And what do? You ignore it, you delete it. You're like, meh, right? Hey, oh, Dr. Rod's in the building, y'all. She's trying to get better at sales, anxious about selling, but getting better. Relationship building is what worked. I was not even marketing my products because I didn't want to be too salesy. Yes. Okay. I'm going to answer that in just a second. Okay. So, you get these DMs and everything. You're like, wow, not even trying to listen. But think about it. When you're interested in something, you really want a solution, you out there searching, you are scouring the internet, you are in the internet streets looking for your solution. And you're like, man, if only I knew someone that did X, Y, or Z, or that provided this service. Well, see, if you took the time to build a relationship with your ideal customer, even if they didn't need you right now, you want to be staying top of mind for them, right? So a lot of times we take no so personally. It's like no is personal. I've learned to let it go. If someone says no, it's just like, okay, well, maybe it wasn't the right time, especially if I get the sense that they really do need help. It's just not the right time for them. They are just not ready to pull the trigger. What you have to realize a lot of times, guys, is that some people are not ready for transformation. They're not ready for the solution that you were willing and ready to provide to them. They're just not ready to partake in that. They are comfortable where they are. A lot of things what I say, or times what I say, is that when you only thing that changes, only thing that change is change, right? So like you have to make a change in order to see things go differently, right? The definition of insanity: doing the same thing over and over and over, expecting a different result. So unfortunately, sometimes you encounter people who they are dedicated to that result, or they're dedicated to stay to wherever they are at that moment right now. It's going to require a mindset shift. Now, whether you can help them with the mindset shift, or they have to go through something else or experience something else to come to that mindset shift is another question. But it's definitely you have to take the time to stay in stay at top of mind for them. Invite them into your community. Have conversations, because they don't know you, right? Again, that's just like walking up to somebody on the street and be like, hey, will you marry me? It's like, no. I mean, I would definitely say no. I mean, some people might say yes, but I'm like, no, So you have to take the time to get to know them. They got to get to know you. Now, am I saying that has to happen every single time? No, it doesn't. You might have some people that actually do say yes, like right off the bat, when you first talk to them. But in general, people need to build a relationship with you first. So right now, I believe the stats are that like it takes the average person 7 to 8 times to have an interaction with your brand in order for them to make a decision to buy. So 7 to 8 times, guys, they have to see you. So like they'll see you, but they don't see you, if that makes sense. You have to capture their attention, especially if we're marketing on social media. You got to make people stop the scroll and want to engage with you. And then when they do, guys, don't ignore them. Don't just like like, oh, they commented, hooray! Right? You don't do anything else about it. Start a conversation. These are the people that you want. They're your ideal clients. They're like, hey, what she said resonated with me, or she's talking directly to me. Don't just kind of like celebrate in silence. Have a conversation with people that you've invited into your community, right? So to build that know, like, and trust factor, so that when they do decide to make a decision, you're at the top of their mind. They want to work with you first. And then the last thing I want to say is that sales is a conversation. It's nothing more than a conversation. That goes to the mindset shift around sales. I've been doing sales for a long time, guys. My very first job was actually a door-to-door salesperson. I used to sell office supplies, my very, very first job. And I went door to door, business to business. I worked on 100% commission. First job out of college. That's what I did. So if you can imagine, I'm an introvert. It was terrifying, terrifying. But I will tell you this, it definitely built character. And I will tell you that what I had, they taught a lot of sales techniques, old school techniques. And what I would say, selling like a man are the techniques that they were teaching. And so for me, what I had to do was I had to find the techniques that worked for me, because they had like a whole list. I learned all of them, and I was just like, yeah, I'm never gonna do these ones here because they just don't fit my personality. Like a part of they got the sales script, and you have to go through it. So like part of it was like build rapport. In the first, ask them, like literally was like, ask them how the weather is. I was like, I'm not doing that. Like I'm a goofy person, but like I literally I can talk about something else, but I'm not going to ask you how the weather is unless literally I'm coming from outside, or that's not going to be a topic of conversation. Like it's just not going to be. So, yeah, I mean, I had to come up with my own, types of mechanisms to be able to still follow the same structure, but just make it work for my personality and like what I was trying to do. So that's what I mean by like making things be in alignment with who you are. Like if you're not a small talk person, I mean, yeah, of course you want to ask someone, hey, how are you? How are you doing? But like, don't just like make up stuff, because it's going to come off unnatural if you do that. So just be mindful of that. But it is a conversation. So have a conversation with people. You don't have to like stick to the script. I mean, if you're very nervous, it does help to have a script. And I do work with my clients on scripting. So that is something that we do have, so that they are able to focus on, the objective of the call. But essentially I do encourage people to have a conversation, right? You should aim to have high quality conversations and be intentional about it, right? So you're listening, there's a respectful exchange, and there's a determination to build rapport with the client, right? Build rapport with that ideal client. So while getting comfortable with sales takes time, it's different for each person. You will be more confident in your sales process when you insert you into the process. Be yourself, be authentic, and be intentional with those conversations. I see the chat's lighting up, so let me go over here because let me see. Okay, what we got? Okay, so no does not mean forever. So I accept no and then do a soft follow-up later. Exactly. So no doesn't mean forever. And most definitely, guys, I will tell you the fortune is in the follow-up. You want to follow up with follow up. Like, don't just let things die on the vine. Because again, if you've invited this person to take a look at your content, check out your freebie, be a part of your community, don't just disappear. Like you do want to actually be present. So follow up. Oh, she said she's not going to marry strangers. Okay, we're on the same page. It says, so that status is important. So what do you mean by see us, like on IG, your website? Yes. So like when you are, let's say when you're doing lives or just putting out content, your ideal client, like you want the content to be centered around like something that's talking directly to them. So you have to really get to know who your ideal client is, so that when you are creating content, it speaks directly to them. And so if your content is too general, or you have too many audiences in mind, or too many like topics that are not related, they're gonna scroll right by it, because it's kind of just like, well, what is she what is she talking about? You know what I mean? Like, none of this stuff is like related to anything that I thought she was doing. It's almost kind of like always use the analogy of posting dogs and cats all the time. When you're supposed to be talking about like social media, all you posting is dogs and cats, and like, I don't know, pictures of food, right? It's like not related. It's like cute pictures of your dog and your cat, but no one knows what exactly that you're doing, and you're not providing value. Now, am I saying don't be personal on social media? I'm not saying that. I think you do have to sprinkle a little bit of personal with whatever your business, to show your personality. People do want to see the person behind the brand. But like, you can't just be posting pictures of like your dogs and your cats on every post. Never tell anybody what you do. Never add any value. By adding value, I mean like give someone tips on a problem that like they're having, right? Talk about challenges that they're facing, and speak to those, right? Teach something, right? Motivate, be inspirational, on your social media. Hopefully that's helpful. Um, but yes, so like see you on social media, because there's so much stuff out there, guys. Think about how if people follow a lot of people, that whole feed, like populates when you log back on, and you want your profile to go to the top. And the only way to do that, you have to be engaged with those accounts, right? Obviously, you can't engage with every single person that follows you, but for those people who you've had conversations with, or who you've made connections with, for sure, you want to take the time to go through and engage with your community, so that when they see your content, they're like, oh yeah, this is like she said, this is timely, right? Like they're seeing, like, she's talking to me. Let me see what else she got going on. Let me make sure I follow her so I can be notified, right? She said, I reply to every comment. I'm small dog now, so it's easy to do. Finding people appreciate me responding. Oh, yes, absolutely. People do appreciate genuine comments and responses when you do respond on social media. Listen, guys, social media is meant for you to be social, right? Meant for you to be social, meaning be social, like interact with people. Um, oh yeah, I've been doing sales for a long time. Oh, the ones that I was okay. So what were the ones that I was doing? Like instead of doing like the how's the weather thing. So okay. So like my door to door sales gig, right? A lot of times we have the thing called the gatekeeper, right? And unfortunately, the gatekeeper is the secretary to the big man, to the boss, right? So that's the person I have to talk to the boss to figure out if he wants to order office supplies. So one of the things that I would do, I would give the secretary or the person at the front desk like probably 90% of the time it was a woman, but sometimes it was a man. But I would give compliments. That was more so of my style. Like, oh, I like your hair, I like your dress, your nails. I would do that. The other thing that I would do, like, so I would do something that I could actually talk about. So like at that time I was really into sports. So like I would ask. Sometimes women are into sports, especially if they have like they got a Redskins. So we're in the DMV, guys. So Redskins mug, Redskins gear. Or I would find something on their desk to talk about. So like this is like actually in the space of another person. Now, I think the same thing can work if you're on a sales call. You can do the how's the weather if you want. I find that actually works if you're talking to someone who's not on the same time zone as you, or in a different part of the world. I actually do that. I actually find it interesting to have that. So I would never do it then, but I do it now because I'm talking to people all over the world. So like, how's the weather over there is a conversation starter now for sure. But compliments, hair, clothing, I still do that. And just how are you? Like that's an icebreaker. Just how are you? Especially during these times, how are you? is a loaded question, or if I know certain things about people, like having a questionnaire before your call is helpful. So you kind of know a little bit about the person you're going to be speaking with before you speak with them. So I can ask questions about that. Like if they say, I'm a dog mom, or another case may be, I can say, oh, how are your puppies? So like, I can make which I really do, by the way. So um, I can make an introduction or icebreaker there. Let's see. That's what I've done, selling in a way that makes me comfortable with entrepreneurs. We want to make profit, but relationship building is a prerequisite to profit. Yes, it is. Relationship building is a prerequisite to profit. You must build relationships. It's really, really, really important. And like, we have to be actively involved in making our income as entrepreneurs, but then, if you are actually providing excellent service, referrals will come. And so that's kind of how you start to build that base, is operating with integrity, operating with excellence, and ensuring that your community is taken care of. They'll take care of you. Oh, she sprinkles dogs, cats, and food in her stories. I think, stories are for you to interact with your community. So I think that's fine. Like you can sell in your stories, but I think showing a little bit of personality is good in your stories. Like I'm always talking about coffee in my stories and how I'm not awake. So, which is true. Y'all be sitting there like, I run out of coffee. I really need it. So those, like, my stories are actually true. I'll be sitting there like, man, I wish I had some coffee. How often do you speak about or show your products and services on your social media? So all the time. Actually. But there's a way to do it, right? So like you want to have call to actions, strong call to actions on your post. And it doesn't necessarily have to always be, it's not explicitly buy my thing. But whatever action, you have to get in the habit of putting call to actions in your post, so that people take an action. You want them to take the next step, or take the next step, whatever that might be. So, if it's book a call with me, it's book a call with me. If it's like, share this post, um, share this post. If it's save this post, if it's, share with a friend, comment below, just giving people action to take. But I'm always talking about my products and services on social media, whether it's directly or indirectly. The exception to that might be just motivational, like when I'm doing just a motivational quote and just kind of, you know, offering some insight around it, or my personal insight around it. Yes, the coffee shows my personality. Right, when I'm like awake, it's on. Um, Learn the importance of CT. I need to be more intentional in sharing what I offer. Yes, be intentional about sharing what you offer. And what I would say is that do it at your comfort level, right? So like if you have to kind of ease into that, because there is that there is that mindset shift around sales, right? So be intentional, do at least once per week, right? At least once per week you're talking about what you offer. And then, increasing it from there, whether it's directly or indirectly on your social media. So I do want to pause and if there are any questions about this, guys? Selling without feeling awkward. Hopefully this helps you be a little less awkward. I really do think that having, especially if you're doing sales calls, you have high ticket offers, you're getting people on the phone, I would highly recommend having a questionnaire before you hop on the phone with people, so you understand and know who you're talking to. This kind of also helps break the ice too, because if you get lost, in the sauce in your script or in the process, you at least know why that person hopped on the phone. Oh, thank you. So glad you caught this live. I'm glad I could help. Aw. Any questions, guys? Any questions? So let me just, while I'm waiting for other questions to come in, let me just do a little quick recap about what I talked about. So, how to sell without feeling awkward, right? The first is having your sales process down. Whatever that process looks like for you, make sure you have your sales process down. How do you get someone from point A to point B, right? Second, listen to your ideal customers, listen to what their needs are, pain points, and make sure that you actually have a product or service that can actually solve that problem or pain point, right? More likely you're going to close a sale. So if someone's telling you that, they need help with their confidence, but, you're talking about healthy eating, it doesn't really jive, doesn't really go together. So make sure you actually have something that's going to solve their problem. Third, sell in a way that feels good to you, right? Feels in alignment with your brand and your brand ethics, making sure that you are taking the time to vet your customers or vet your ideal clients, making sure that you actually can help them, right? And you're not trying to sell them things that they don't need. Fourth, shift your mindset, right? Shift your mindset around sales. Selling is serving, right? You have a solution, you provide a transformation, right? Shift your mindset around what that looks like, and that, no is not a personal attack. No doesn't mean no like forever. It's just a no right now, right? And make sure you have an abundance mindset about that. There's always more people to talk to, right? My community will continue to grow. And once you do that and you get out of the scarcity mindset, it's a lot less scary when you're talking to people and trying to build relationships. And just remember, people who haven't said yes means that you haven't built that know, like, and trust factor yet with them. So just keep going. And then fifth, remember that sales is a conversation, and you should treat it as a conversation, right? Aim to have high quality conversations, be respectful, listen to what they're saying, build that rapport. And then the people who you're supposed to work with, you will definitely work with them. So that is really it. Let me know in the comments if this has been helpful, whether you're watching it now, watching it later. My girl, Doc Sarah, she has been lighting up the chat for me this whole time. She said, how often do I go live and on what platforms? Okay, so right now, my consistent method that I go live on is Facebook and YouTube. So that's what I do. I'm actually getting ready to add Instagram very, very soon. So I'm going to have an Instagram live series very soon. But I go live weekly. Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern is the time. And I'm broadcasting in the Simply She Army Facebook group, as well as the Simply She Facebook page and the Simply She YouTube channel. So those are the methods that I use to go live. And like I said, I will be adding Instagram soon. So for those of you who follow me on both platforms, you'll get to see me more often, and it'll be on different days too. So I'll have even more topics for you guys. I think that's it, guys. So again, like I said, if you're watching this, if you watch this later, you have questions, you can go ahead and drop them in the comment section, and I will respond to you if you have questions, or you can feel free to just DM me directly. On Facebook, you can DM me at iSimplyShe. Again, that's iSimplyShe. If you want to DM me on Instagram, it's at I_simply_she. Again, at I_simply_she. You can also DM me personally directly at Crystal Vernay. I'm at Crystal Vernay on all handles. So Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And I think that's all, guys. If you want further clarity on how you can leverage this sales in your business and having a sales process, you can book a clarity call with me. The description to do that is in the link of this live. And we will take a look at your methods for client attraction and marketing. So That's it. I hope you guys have a lovely rest of your Wednesday evening. And remember, you too can conquer if you slay hard every day. Thanks for joining, guys.